we're going to be talking about how I can help you raise over $150,000 in 90 days, okay? And I'm going to break down what banks you need to go to and where you need to start at. That being said, let's jump right into it. Now, the first bank that I would consider, especially if you have bad credit, usually I tell people with this strategy, I would want you to have at least a 680 or higher credit score, okay? That's usually what I would encourage you to get. But if you don't, and you're just starting out with your new LLC or startup or something like that, then you definitely want to look at the bottom of the totem pole type of credit lender, Let me help you all understand why I'm starting here. People are not aware there's a tier system when it comes to funding, okay? So your tier 1 funding comes from your major banks, all right? Which I stated in a different video, which is your major banks would be like Wells Fargo, Capital One, Bank of America, American Express. Now, granted, Capital One is a tier 1 bank. However, it also falls into the 3rd or 4th category of the tiers. Now, the 2nd tier would be your regional banks. So your regional banks being like BMO, Citizens, Truist, those are like your regional banks, right? So then your 3rd tier would be your credit unions. So your credit unions would be like Navy Federal Credit Union, BCU, Baxter Credit Union. You're talking about RBFCU, Randolph Brooks Credit Union, okay? So your credit unions. And then the 4th tier would be like when you have bad credit, but you have revenue coming into business and stuff. That would be like your on-deck type of funding, like Lendio and things of that nature. So those are the 4th tier things. Corpay would fall in like the 4th tier as well, okay? That being said, let's hop into it. Let's talk about Capital One. Now with Capital One, the Spark Classic credit card, and like I said, if you're getting value out of it, please leave me a comment, thumbs up. If it's fire to you, hey, show me some love. I really appreciate it. The Spark Classic credit card. Now here's the thing about it with the Spark Classic credit card coming from Capital One. The situation is a lot of people, they don't have too many good feelings about it because it reports on the business side as well as the personal side. However, the good thing about Capital One cards is because they report to the business credit bureaus. So that's what you really want. You want cards that actually going to report your history, transactions and stuff to the business credit bureaus. So they report to Experian, Equifax, Small Business Exchange, and Dun & Bradstreet picks that information up. Now, again, so that you all understand, we're skipping the process of building up a DUNS number. We're skipping the process of building up net 30s, okay? So this here is totally bypassing that, and this is going to expedite your funding up to that $150,000 in 90 days, all right? So that's one of the key. Now, another key that you guys must understand when you're talking about getting funding, you have to also consider your NAICS codes, all right? Your NAICS code. So making sure you're not in a high-risk industry, like ATM machines, trying to start an ATM business. That's high risk. Restaurants, food trucks, those are high-risk type of businesses, okay? So there are other high-risk type of business. If you have questions on whether your company is a high-risk type of business or not, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. That being said, again, also making sure, this is one key thing that many people mess up on, is that you want to make sure you have one of the major banks, okay? Make sure, like you can have your regional banks, you can have your credit unions, okay? You can have your third-party banks like Novo, Axis, and stuff like that. That's fine. However, you need a major bank like Capital One, Citibank, Chase Bank. You need to be banking with them for your business transactions because they report to the business credit bureaus, okay? That's the reason that you need those type of banks. So at least one of those type of banks, all right? Now, that being said, back to the Capital One Spark, again, 580 credit score. Yes, it does report on all three. Now, one of the all three credit bureaus on the personal side also reports on the business side. But one of the things about it for pulling, you can lock up your files, and they may just pull from one credit file. Okay, so that is an option as well. Moving on. Now, let's talk about some lines of credit, okay? Now, here's another thing that's very important when it comes to funding and lines of credit. We're talking about DreamSpring here, right? Now, most people, when they're talking about lines of credit loans, they want to go directly for a loan. You don't want to do that. It's too much red tape. The easiest way for you to get the funding that you need, especially up to $150,000, you need to focus on credit cards and lines of credit. Now, DreamSpring has one of the easiest lines of credit, and the reason is because all you need is at least a 620 credit score. That's right, a 620 credit score when it comes to DreamSpring. Now, DreamSpring, they do pull TransUnion FICO 9, and that loan is actually issued from Upstart. Okay, so that's something you have to keep in mind. Now, one other thing you must also keep in mind with the DreamSpring, with their business loans as well as their lines of credit, they do report both on the business side and personal side. But at the same time, like I said, with this line of credit, it goes up to $50,000. And it's a revolving line of credit. And you guys know I'm an addict. I'm a straight up addict when it comes to revolving lines of credit, because I know I can use that money, pay it down, and use it again without having to continue to apply over and over. So that's the reason that I like these type of lenders and things of that nature, right? Now, you have Corpay. Now with Corpay, here's the thing with Corpay. Corpay is a net 21 account, okay? It's a charge account. However, it does pull from your Experian FICO 8, all right? But you only need at least a 600 credit score. And the good thing about Corpay and why I have them here, and Corpay needs to pay me. I'm gonna have to reach out to those guys because I'd be straight plugging them. Now, the reason that Corpay is so important is because they do report to Experian Business, Equifax Business, and Dun & Bradstreet, okay? Just keep out and remember that it is a net 21 charge account, all right? Now we're going to switch up the game. Let's hop over here. These are these here are tier 3 accounts I'm going to be talking about. And this is very important because, again, many of us want funding and stuff, but we don't know where to start. And I always tell you is to go to the easiest fruit, all right? Now, this is Veridian Credit Union. Now, the way that you join Veridian Credit Union is through Habitat of Humanity. So you guys know President Jimmy Carter. He's one of the founders of that build houses and stuff, all right? So you would join their organization, then you can join Veridian, okay? And so they do offer a business credit card. Now, why am I talking about them? Because with Veridian, they do look at a Vantage TransUnion 3 score. Okay, they do look at a Vantage TransUnion 3. Now, for some of you all, I just probably threw a loop for you because the thing about it, not many of us that are talking about financing and stuff like that really try to find like Vantage scoring type of institutions. And that's my thing. I always try to find some of the easiest low-hanging fruit for people to actually start building up to get access to funding and everything. So with them with them actually looking at a Vantage score, and you would get your Vantage score like from American Express for free without having an American Express card. You can go to Credit Karma. Most people go to Credit Karma, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at a Vantage TransUnion 3 score, okay? So that's the scoring system that they're actually using, okay? And so, as I said, you can see here, they do offer a business credit card. This is RBFCU. This is Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. They use a VantageScore. Okay, now most of the time when using a VantageScore, like if you're trying to get like a mortgage through FHA, they use a VantageScore because they have updated their data metrics where they will allow you, like with utilities and subscriptions, authorized users, as well as rental payments, okay? Now, here's the thing about it. If you're trying to get a mortgage with FHA, they may not allow you to use the authorized user, but the utilities, subscriptions, and rental payments is definitely one of the ones. Now, again, this is the reason why I tell you to look at a Vantage scoring system when you're trying to get funding and stuff like that. And as you can see, they have the Business Select MasterCard credit card, okay, and it's a VantageScore system, all right? That being said, another credit union that, hey, it is very good. Now, this is BCU, okay? Now, with BCU, you can see here, they do offer business lines of credit, okay? They offer the business lines of credit as well as credit cards. Now, BCU, in terms of joining them, is the Life Family U organization. Now, with the Life Family U organization, they will waive the $5 fee. Okay, they will waive the $5 fee. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to be transparent about. Even though they're Vantage 3 TransUnion financial institution, when joining them and you're trying to get business credit funding, and again, like I said, they're very generous on funding. But one of the things you have to understand, they love paperwork, okay? So if you're not willing to submit pay stubs and bank statements, I would tell you, do not approach this credit union because they do want that stuff, all right? Now, it's interesting, one other thing that credit unions are doing, especially let's look back at Veridian. You would actually have to do a face-to-face verification, meaning that you'll send in your driver's license, you'll send in your social security card, your baby mama, they're going to want to see that, and plus they're going to want to see you on camera, right? But at the same time, because they are generous with funding and stuff like that, hey, it's definitely one of those credit unions that's worth it. All right, so going back to BCU, again, if you're not willing to do the paperwork. Now, if you need paperwork for as like pay stubs and stuff like that, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation, okay? So you can get that paperwork, all right? Now, the tier 3, which is your credit unions. Now, your tier 3 business credit cards, business loans from Navy Federal. Now, with Navy Federal, they are very tight when it comes to the type of business you have. So if you're in the cannabis business, the porn business, the lending business, the ammo business, do not approach Navy Federal. Do not approach them because they will not even open up the account, okay? They're very strict. Real estate industry, restaurant industry, they are very strict in terms of who they're willing to give business accounts to as well as business funding, okay? Now, they will pull your Experian FICO 9. Now, here's the key to this. In reference to getting in the door with them, like I said, if you're not military related, you must have somebody that's in the household that shares an address with you, okay? And that's a member of Navy Federal, then they will help you join. Now, again, do not invest in those Navy Federal access numbers on the black market because, again, if they open up the account, you get credit cards, you use them, and then they find out that they can have you prosecuted, okay? Just because it's theft and fraud. So you don't want that to happen, all right? That being said, let's hop over some tier 2 banks, which are your regional banks, all right? The ones that I love is like PNC. PNC, they definitely one of the ones that you actually want to take a look at. Reason is because of their generosity. All right. Now, Experian FICO 9 on the PNC. Now, here's the thing about it. I'm gonna tell you guys this here, and it's very important. When looking at credit cards from like PNC and stuff like that, you want to look for the credit cards that offer 0% entry, okay, on balance transfer as well as purchases. Those are the credit cards you want. And so they have this here one for 13 months, which is great. Now, again, do not go for the loans. Stay away from loans. If you're not over 2 years old, I would tell you definitely do not go for the loans. All right? Please stay away from the loans, okay? It's too much red tape for them. They'll start you out with a credit card, then you can work your way up to a business line of credit. Sometimes they'll give you a business line of credit. Like I said, if you're about 18 months in your business, then a business line of credit, all right? But keep in mind, guys, that the whole purpose of this is you're building up to get more capital, right? So the thing about it, you're definitely gonna have to have paperwork. I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to get 100,000, 200,000. First thing they're like, okay, what's the paperwork like? You know, I just started. No excuses, fam. No excuses, because I be telling you guys straight up, even some of the other guys that be telling you and stuff, and I do show them love. I tell them, but here's the thing about it. If you do not have the right paperwork, you're going to get to that point where you'll get funding and stuff. If you don't have the right paperwork, in case they do a 45060, meaning they're going to pull your taxes, then now you're SOL because they freeze the account, close it down, now you owe a bill. And you can't even utilize the account. So that's the reason that you want to be careful in that. Now, that being said, like usually credit cards, tier 1 banks. And the reason that we're looking at this here, Wells Fargo, it is a tier 1 bank, but because they use FICO 9 on the Experian, that's the only reason. Because FICO 9 will utilize an authorized user, rental payments, subscriptions, utility bills and stuff. That's the only reason that I would be looking at a FICO 9 in this institution. And the reason is because of this. They have the Business Advantage line of credit. They make it much easier so you don't have to be in business for 2 years, right, to get this here business line of credit. Now, they have two types of business lines of credit. Over 2 years is the business line of the Wells Fargo business line of credit. Then, for small businesses less than 2 years, then you want to go for the Small Business Advantage line of credit. So this here goes from $5,000 up to $50,000. Now, also looking at it here, credit score, 680. 680 credit score. That's the reason I tell you guys, you have to have at least a 680 or higher, okay? Now, granted, I did show you some accounts that are less than a 680, but you definitely should have a 680 or higher if you're trying to build yourself up to get access to more funding. So with Truist, here's the thing about it. Truist is a regional bank. So now we know that this here is a tier 2, right? We know that this is a tier 2 bank, all right? So since this is a tier 2 bank, then you definitely gonna have to, if you're not in that region, then you're gonna definitely have to get a registered agent to open you up a bank account in that area in order for you to apply for credit cards and stuff like that. All right, that's how it is, And so one of the credit cards again that I would tell you to look at, the Truist Business Credit Card, 0% on purchases, right? So this is the type of card you want to get. This is the type of card you want to look at. They also have the Business Rewards, as you can see, 0% on purchases, all right? They also have the balance transfers card as well. But these are the cards you want to definitely make sure that they either offer 0% interest on purchases or balance transfer, because those are the type of cards you want to be able to liquidate. BMO, okay? Again, it's another regional bank, usually on the West Coast and stuff like that. Now, the best card that they have is 0% interest, 18 months. Now, here's another key that I want to tell you guys. When you join these institutions like this, all right, you want to make sure that if you're not comfortable with knowing that, okay, my credit is not strong enough, you need to vet these institutions for at least 90 days because they cycle in every 90 days, right? So within that 90 days, you want to be putting money into your business bank account, right? You want to be utilizing that bank account and stuff. Give it about 90 days and stuff like that. So they can actually see, you want to do business with them instead of just getting a credit card and stuff like that, right? So their best credit card with BMO that I would definitely tell you to go after is the Business Platinum credit card. Again, why the tier 2 banks is because with tier 2 banks, they tend to be a little more lenient, just like the tier 3 credit unions in terms of giving you funding and stuff like that. That's the reason that you don't see on here American Express. You don't see Chase Bank, okay? I'm showing you the easiest way to get to that $150,000 in 90 days, okay? That's the reason I said give it 90 days in order for you to romance the relationship, basically. Meaning making deposits, utilizing the accounts and stuff like that. And by the way, again, making sure you have good paperwork because you never know when they're going to do a 4506T and want to see them taxes. They may want to see them bank statements and stuff like that. You never know, okay? So anything coming question, you're like, oh, here you go. You know, you already set up. And again, if you have questions about paperwork, the right type of paperwork, pay stubs and stuff like that, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.